Hey everybody, I'm Alex. Welcome to Storytime. I am so happy to be here with you guys, partly because I have so many amazing stories about animals from Africa to tell you today. They are specifically stories about animals from the savannas. We've got stories about lions and bush deer and tree toads and tigers. Well, technically tigers are from the jungle, but still super awesome, and so much other good stuff. Before I jump into it, though, I just want to say thank you for joining us on AADL TV. Please check out all the other good stuff on the feed. You could find all sorts of great craft projects. You could watch the Saturday show, and you could find maybe even some unexpected stuff. There's a ton of good stuff in there. Jumping right into it, I think we should start out with a song. What do you guys think? All right, let's sing a song. Hello, 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 and how are you? I'm fine, I hope that you are too. Welcome to the library with magic books and songs. I'm glad that you're here, I hope you'll sing along. Hello, 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 and how are you? I'm fine, I hope that you are too. Welcome to the library with magic books and songs. I'm glad that you're here, I hope you'll sing along. Hello, 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 and how are you? I'm fine, I hope that you are too. Welcome to Storytime with magic books and songs. I'm glad that you're here, I hope you'll sing along. All right, next I've got a rhyme and a finger exercise for you guys. So put out your index fingers and get them ready to go. Rhyme goes a little bit like this. Two little blackbirds sitting on a hill, one named Jack and one named Jill. Fly away, Jack, fly away, Jill. Come back, Jack, come back, Jill. Oh, and then they kiss. That's nice. All right, this time you guys can do it with me. Get those fingers ready. Two little blackbirds sitting on a hill, one named Jack and one named Jill. Fly away, Jack, and fly away, Jill. Come back, Jack, and come back, Jill. Oh, that's nice. All right, next I have another rhyme for you with the felt board, so let's take a look. One elephant in the bathtub going for a swim. Come on in. Two elephants in the bathtub going for a swim. Come on in. Three elephants in the bathtub going for a swim. Come on in. Four elephants in the bathtub going for a swim. Come on in. Five elephants in the bathtub going for a swim. Uh-oh. They all fell in. The end. Well, that was a nice story, but I think it's time for a song. What do you think? Do you think it's time for a song? Yeah, you're right. It's time for a song. This one is called If You're a Lion and You Know It. And you might not know the words to it yet, but I think you'll know the melody. It goes a little bit something like this. If you're an elephant and you know it, stomp your feet. If you're an elephant and you know it, stomp your feet. If you're an elephant and you know it, then your feet will surely show it. If you're an elephant and you know it, stomp your feet. If you're a monkey and you know it, jump up and down. If you're a monkey and you know it, jump up and down. If you're a monkey and you know it, then your jump will surely show it. If you're a monkey and you know it, jump up and down. If you're a crocodile and you know it, snap your jaws. If you're a crocodile and you know it, snap your jaws. If you're a crocodile and you know it, then your jaws will surely show it. If you're a crocodile and you know it, snap your jaws. If you're a lion and you know it, give a roar. Roar! If you're a lion and you know it, give a roar. roar. If you're a lion and you know it, then your roar will surely show it. If you're a lion and you know it, give a roar. Roar! All right. I think we should do it again. I think this time you should help me with the jumping and the stomping and the snapping and the roaring. I think that would be pretty cool. All right, let's do it. If you're an elephant and you know it, stomp your feet, stomp your feet. If you're an elephant and you know it, stomp your feet. If you're an elephant and you know it, then your feet will surely show it. If you're an elephant and you know it, stomp your feet. If you're a monkey and you know it, jump up and down. Okay, jump. If you're a monkey and you know it, jump up and down. If you're a monkey and you know it, then your jump will surely show it. If you're a monkey and you know it, jump up and down. If you're a crocodile and you know it, snap your jaws. If you're a crocodile and you know it, snap your jaws. If you're a crocodile and you know it, then your jaws will surely show it. If you're a crocodile and you know it, snap your jaws. All right, if you're a lion and you know it, give a roar. It's time to roar. Roar! If you're a lion and you know it, time to roar. Roar! If you're a lion and you know it, then your roar will surely show it. If you're a lion and you know it, give a roar. Roar! Okay, fun, fun. I think we should do it one more time, but I think this time we're going to do it really fast. Yeah, I think that's a plan. Let's do it. If you're an elephant and you know it, stomp your feet. If you're an elephant and you know it, stomp your feet. If you're an elephant and you know it, then your feet will surely show it. If you're an elephant and you know it, stomp your feet. If you're a monkey and you know it, jump up and down. If you're a monkey and you know it, jump up and down. If you're a monkey and you know it, then your jump will surely show it. If you're a monkey and you know it, jump up and down. If you're a crocodile and you know it, snap your jaws. If you're a crocodile and you know it, snap your jaws. If you're a crocodile and you know it, then your jaws will surely show it. If you're a crocodile and you know it, snap your jaws. If you're a lion and you know it, give a roar. Roar! If you're a lion and you know it, give a roar. Roar! If you're a lion and you know it, then your roar will surely show it. If you're a lion and you know it, give a roar. Roar! All right, very good. We have another story for you. This one is called Mr. Tiger Goes Wild. It's one of my personal favorites. Let's go take a look. Mr. Tiger Goes Wild by Peter Brown. Everyone was perfectly fine with the way things were. Everyone but Mr. Tiger. Mr. Tiger was bored with things always being so proper. There he is with Mr. Deer. Good day, Mr. Tiger. Good day, Mr. Deer. What lovely weather we are having. I suppose. Indeed. And there he is with Lady Horse. Now, children, please do not act like wild animals. He wanted to loosen up. He wanted to have some fun. He wanted to be wild. And then one day, Mr. Tiger had a very wild idea. Oh yeah, look, there he is on all fours. He felt better already. Mr. Tiger became wilder and wilder each day. There he is on a park bench. He's going, roar! Do you want to roar with me? I bet you can do it. Do you want to go? You could go, roar! His friends, though, his friends did not know what to think. Peculiar. Wow. Unacceptable. And then Mr. Tiger went a little too far. Yep, I think I can see his clothes floating in the pool. And there he is, all naked. His friends had lost their patience. Mr. Tiger, if you must act so wild, kindly do so in the wilderness. Mr. Tiger says, what a magnificent idea! So Mr. Tiger ran away. Into the wilderness. Oh, I can see Mr. Tiger. Where he went completely wild. I see him running. I see him chasing some fish. I see him chasing a tree. And there he is, going roar. Do you want to go with it? Go with me again? Can you say roar? Oh, there he is again. But Mr. Tiger was lonely. He missed his friends. He missed the city. He missed his home. So Mr. Tiger decided to return. There are his friends. And they're holding some clothes for him. And Mr. Tiger, he found things were beginning to change. Now Mr. Tiger felt free to be himself. Look at him wearing his silly little shirt. And so did everyone else. The end. Okay, what an amazing story. I love that story so much. I think it's so funny, and I think those illustrations are so beautiful. I hope you loved it as much as I do. I think, though, that it's time for a song. What do you think? Yeah, it's time for a song. This one, I think you'll know, it's called The Grand Old Duke of York. The great thing about this song is you can sing it, and you can sing it again, and you can go faster and faster each time. So let's give it a shot. Oh, the grand old Duke of York, he had 10,000 men. He marched them up to the top of the hill, he marched them down again. And when you're up, you're up, and when you're down, you're down. And when you're only halfway up, you're neither up nor down. That was good, but it would be even better faster. Let's go and try it. Oh, the grand old Duke of York, he had 10,000 men. He marched them up to the top of the hill, he marched them down again. And when you're up, you're up, and when you're down, you're down. And when you're only halfway up, you're neither up nor down. Should we go faster? Yeah, I think we should go faster. Oh, the grand old Duke of York, he had 10,000 men. He marched them up to the top of the hill, he marched them down again. And when you're up, you're up, and when you're down, you're down. And when you're only halfway up, you're neither up nor down. Faster still? I don't know. Let's give it a shot. Oh, the grand old Duke of York, he had 10,000 men. He marched them up to the top of the hill, he marched them down again. And when you're up, you're up, and when you're down, you're down. And when you're only halfway up, you're neither up nor down. Faster still? I don't know. I think we should try it, though. Oh, the grand old Duke of York, he had 10,000 men. He marched them up to the top of the hill, he marched them down again. And when you're up, you're up, and when you're down, you're down. And when you're only halfway up, you're neither up nor down. Faster still? I don't know. I think we should give it a go. Oh, the grand old Duke of York, he had 10,000 men. He marched them up to the top of the hill, he marched them down again. And when you're up, you're up, and when you're down, you're down. And when you're only halfway up, you're neither up nor down. Whew. That was fast. Oh my goodness. Okay, I think we have time for one more story, which is awesome because I have the best story for you guys. This is a definite library favorite. We have told this one a bunch, but I have never personally had a chance to tell it to you. So I'm going to take the time to do that today. The best thing about this story is that there are so many fun animals from the African Savanna. There are in fact 5 different animals. There is spider, and lion, and bush deer, and tree toad, and rat. There might even actually be a 6th animal to this story, depending on how you count it. But that last animal has not been seen in the savannah in a very long time, which will become clear as the story goes. So, the Vinganani and the tree toad. Once, a long, long time ago, Spider lived on a big farm with a house in the middle and a tall tree next to the house. Now, this farm was so big that it was actually kind of too big. It was too big for one tiny little spider to take care of all by herself. But Spider was smart, though, so Spider invited 3 of her friends to join her. She invited Lion and Bush Deer and Rat, and they all moved in, and they helped do the work. Every morning, When the sun rose, they would all get out of bed. They would get up, they would stretch, they would yawn, and then they would shake themselves off, and they would grab their tools, and they would go out and they would work in the fields. Everyone, in fact, except Rat. Rat would stay home, and Rat would do work around the house and make a beautiful, delicious meal for everybody to eat when all the work was done. Now, what Rat would do is Rat would gather up vegetables from the garden. He would chop them up. He would put them in a big stone bowl. He would fill that bowl with water, add some spices on top, and then he would light a fire underneath. And he would stir that stew all day long so that his friends had something very delicious to eat at the end of the day. When the sun started to set, all of Rat's friends would come home from working in the fields, and they would eat that stew. They would eat it up. They would be so full in their bellies from eating all of it, and then they would be so sleepy that they would go down to bed. And while they were falling asleep, their friend and neighbor Tree Toad, who lived in the tree next to the house, would sing them to sleep. Tree Toad would sing the most beautiful lullaby, and it sounded just a little bit like this. And that's the sound that a tree toad makes. Now, they would do this every day, and every day was like every other, except for this one day. One day, they all got up out of bed at dawn. They got up, they stretched, and they yawned, they yawned, and they went out to work in the fields, except for Rat, who, like every other day, stayed home and made his stew. Rat put the vegetables in the pot, he filled it with water, he added the spices, he lit the fire, and he stirred it all day like he did every day. And then by the time the sun was high in the sky, about noon, the smell of the stew filled the house, and it smelled so delicious. And it actually spilled out past the house. You could smell it at the edge of the fields. You could actually even smell it at the edge of the nearest village. And maybe that's what caused the trouble. Because around noon, Rat heard the most interesting sound. He heard thump, thump, thump. Rat thought, what could that be? And he waited and he listened. And then he heard it again. Thump, thump, thump. This time even closer. And he said, oh, what could that be? And then he heard it again, except it was coming right up to the house. Thump, thump, thump. And Rat said, oh, I don't know what this is, but I should find out. So Rat walked out to the front door and he looked and he saw two enormous hairy feet. And then he looked up a little bit more, and he saw this big, enormous, hairy body. And he looked up even more, and up and up and up, and he saw this big, enormous, hairy face. And he said, oh my goodness, who are you? And the thing said, I am the Vinganani, and I'm hungry. Give me that stew, or I'll eat you. And Rat said, you're big, but no, I'm not going to give you my stew. That stew is for my friends when they're done working in the fields for the day. That stew belongs to us, and I'm not going to give it to you. Vinganani looked down at him and just said, And then Vinganani just grabbed that rat by the tail, pulled him back around the house to that tree, and then he pulled out a rope, and he tied the rat to that tree. He took that rope around, and it sounded a little bit like this. Ka-pong, ka-pong, ka-pong. And then the Vinganani pulled it tight. And then Rat was stuck to that tree. And then the Vinganani, being not very nice, he walked right around through that front door into the house. He took that big pot of delicious stew, and he drank it down in 3 huge gulps. Gulp, gulp, gulp. Oh. And then he set that pot down on the floor. He marched out that door, and he left. Now, by the time the sun was setting, all of Rat's friends came in from a long day of work in the fields. They came into the house. They saw a big empty pot on the floor, and no rat, and no stew, and nothing to eat for dinner. And they said, what on earth could have possibly happened? So they looked for Rat in the house. Rat wasn't there. They walked out the door. They looked into the fields. No rat. They did not find him until they walked around to the side of the house, and there Rat was tied to that tree. And they told Rat, Rat, what on earth happened? And Rat said, Oh, it was terrible. This big, giant, ugly, hairy Vinganani monster stole our stew, and he tied me to this tree. How rude. And they said, yes, that was actually very rude. And they untied poor Rat, And they went back into the house, and there was no supper to eat, so they went to bed hungry. But at least they had Tree Toad, their neighbor in the tree, to sing them a lullaby as they fell asleep. And it sounded a little bit like this, because that's the sound a tree toad makes. Now, the next day, they had to decide what they were going to do. Now, they decided Rat is just so small that he just could not stay at that house by himself. It wouldn't be safe. So they said, what can we do? And then Bush Deer, being a good friend, said, you know what? You all go out to the fields. I will stay here, and I will make the stew. And if anybody comes to mess with me, well, I will just kick them with my hoof. And they said, okay, that's a good plan. So they all got up, they all stretched that next morning, they yawned, they grabbed their tools, and they went out to work. And Bush Deer stayed home, and he made a stew. And the stew was pretty good. He got everything going. He got the vegetables in the pot. He put in the spices. He lit the fire. He got the water in. And then by midday, the smell of that stew has filled the house. It had gone out to the edge of the field. You could even smell it in the village next door. Now, once the sun was high in the sky, Bush Deer heard that sound. He heard thump, thump, thump. He said, oh, what on earth could that be? And then he heard it again. Thump, thump, thump. And then he heard it again, except it was very close to the house. Thump, thump, thump. And he said, oh, I think I know what this might be. So he walked out that door, and he looked, and he saw the biggest hairy knees he'd ever seen. And he looked up, and there was this big hairy body, and he looked up, and there was that big hairy face, and he said, who on earth are you? And Vingan looked down at him. He said, I'm the Vingan, and I'm hungry. Give me that stew, or I'll eat you. Now, Bush Deer was not about to be afraid of anything. Bush Deer said, no, you won't. That stew is for my friends, and if you try to take it, well, I'm going to kick you with my beautiful hooves. And Vingan just looked at him and said, huh. Picked him up by the leg and put him back around by that tree, took out his rope, and he tied that Bush Deer to the tree. It sounded a little bit like this. Kapong, 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 huh. And then poor Bush Deer was tied to that tree. And the Vingan, you guessed it, Vingan went back into that house. He ate that stew in three big gulps. He went, gulp, gulp, gulp. And he left that empty pot on the floor. And then when the sun set, all the friends came home after working in the fields, and they came into the house. They saw that empty pot. They didn't find Bush Deer in the house. They didn't find him in the field, but they did find him tied to that tree. And they untied him, and they said, oh, what on earth are we going to do? That Vingan has eaten our stew 2 days in a row. What will we do? So they decided this time Lion would stay home, because Lion, being king of the jungle, or in this case, king of the savannah, well, nobody was going to mess with Lion. So the next day, they decided that Lion was going to stay, and they went to bed, and as they were falling asleep, their friend Tree Toad was in the tree and sang them to sleep. He sang the most beautiful lullaby, and it sounded a little bit like this, because that's the noise a tree toad makes. Now, the next morning, they got up, they stretched, and they yawned, and they went out to work in the fields, everybody except Lion, who stayed home and made his stew. Now, he got the vegetables, he chopped them up, put them in the big stone pot, he added water, he added a little bit of spices, he got that fire going, and he stirred it all day to make a delicious meal for his friends. Now, by the time the sun was high in the sky, Lion heard a noise, and I think you'll know what this one was. He heard thump, thump, thump. He said, oh, well, I think I know what that might be. And then he heard it again, thump, thump, thump. And then he heard it even again, thump, 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 except this time it was really close to the house. So Lion came out, he walked out that front door, and he saw this big hairy body. He looked up, he saw this big hairy head, and he said, I know who you are. You're the Vingan, aren't you? And all the Vingan said was, I'm the Vingan, and I'm hungry. Give me that stew, or I'll eat you. And Lion said, oh, no, you won't. I'm Lion. I run this place. You are not going to eat this stew. This stew belongs to my friends. And the Vingan looked down at him, and all he said was, huh. And poor Lion, Vingan just grabbed him by his mane. He pulled him back around that tree. He tied him 3 times with that rope, and it sounded a little bit like this. Kapong, kapong, kapong. And poor Lion was tied to that tree. And you guessed it, Vinganati went into that house. He drank that stew in 3 big gulps. Gulp, gulp, gulp. And he left that pot on the floor and he left. Now, by the time the sun set and Lion's friends came home, they found that empty pot in the house and no Lion, and they knew exactly where to look. They walked around to that tree, and there was poor Lion tied up. So they untied Lion, and they said, well, what are we going to do? That Vinganati monster has keep coming to our house 3 days in a row, and we have nothing to eat. Now, it was at that point, it was Spider's turn to stay home and make the stew and see if he could fix that problem. But Spider was so tiny. Spider said, oh, I am the smallest out of all of us. What could I possibly do that you 3 couldn't? And that point, they all just stared at each other and they didn't know. And then they heard this little voice in the tree. It was their friend Tree Toad. Tree Toad said, you know what? I think I have an idea. I think that you should all go into the fields tomorrow and you should work. And I will stay and I'll make the stew. And I think I can fix your problem. And they said, well, Tree Toad, you're not much bigger than any of us. What could you possibly do? But Tree Toad said, don't worry, I have a plan. So they decided that that was the best option, the only option, that was what they were going to do. So they went back into their house, they laid down, and Tree Toad, like every night, sang them to sleep. And it was a beautiful lullaby, and it sounded a little like this. That's the sound a Tree Toad makes. Now, the next morning they got up, they stretched, oh, they stretched, and they yawned, oh, they yawned, and Spider and Lion and Bush Deer and Rat, all 4 of them went out to the fields to work for the day, and Tree Toad hopped his way into the house, got the stew going, he put in the vegetables, he added the water, he added the spices, he lit a fire underneath, and he stirred that thing until you could smell it in the house, you could smell it at the edge of the fields, you could even smell it all the way to the nearby village. And then, sure enough, once the sun was high in the sky, he heard that familiar sound. Thump, thump, thump. He said, oh, that's no good. And then he heard it again. Thump, thump, thump. And then he heard it again, except it was right by the house. Thump, thump, thump. And then he decided to walk out to that front door. He hopped, 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 and he looked and he saw big, hairy toes. And he looked up and he saw big, hairy knees. And he looked up and up and up, and he saw that big, hairy face. And he said, I know who you are. And the Vinganani, being the Vinganani, who only ever has the one thing to say, said, I'm the Vinganani and I'm hungry. Give me that stew or I'll eat you. Now, Tree Toad switched things up a little bit. Tree Toad said, you know, I could give you that stew, and I will give you that stew if you can throw me higher than any Tree Toad has ever been thrown before. Now, the Vinganani loved a challenge, so the Vinganani said, And without anything else, he picked that Tree Toad up, and he threw him hop high in the sky, and Tree Toad landed back on the ground. Hop, hop, hop. Now, Tree Toad said next, that was pretty high, but that's not anywhere close to the highest anyone's ever thrown a Tree Toad. You gotta do better than that. So the Vinganati just said, And he picked Tree Toad up, and he threw him even higher into the sky, up above the roof of that house. And then Tree Toad landed, hop, hop, hop. And Tree Toad said, that was pretty good, but I bet you can throw me even higher. So that with that, Vinganati just said, He picked Tree Toad up, and he threw him high above the house, high above the tree. And as the Tree Toad was coming back down, Tree Toad aimed, and he landed, boom, 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 right on the Vinganati's head. Vinganati fell to the ground, knocked out cold. And Tree Toad grabbed the Vinganati's rope. He tied it around the Vinganati 3 times, and it sounded a little bit like this. Kapong, kapong, kapong. And there was the Vinganati tied up and unconscious. So Tree Toad went back into the house. He finished his stew. The other animals came back as the sun was setting, and they came and they saw the most amazing thing. There was the Vinganati all tied up. And they asked Tree Toad, how did you do this? All Tree Toad said was, you know, all I did was use my head and his head too. All right, we're almost done. There's time for just one more song, and I know it's everybody's favorite, Knees Up Mother Brown, with the bona fide, the one and only, the original Mother Brown. Look at her. All right, let's do it. There was a girl from Paris, France, who didn't know how to dance. The only thing that she could do was knees up, Mother Brown. Oh, knees up, Mother Brown. Knees up, Mother Brown. Knees up, never let the breeze up. Knees up, Mother Brown. Oh, there was a girl from Paris, France, who didn't know how to dance. The only thing that she could do was knees up, Mother Brown. Oh, knees up, Mother Brown. Knees up, Mother Brown. Knees up, never let the breeze up. Knees up, Mother Brown. Oh, there were some animals today who came out with us to play. The only thing that they could do was knees up, Mother Brown. Oh, knees up, Mother Brown. Knees up, Mother Brown. Knees up, never let the breeze up. Knees up, Mother Brown. Thanks for joining me, you guys. I had a blast. I hope you did too. Hope to see y'all soon.